Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. If you can mute your microphones,
Meeting is
just,
being recorded.
just so we don't get any feedback. Great, excellent. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Getting Started with Generative AI. My name is Sean Fernandez, and I run the Digital Coach Program at Tourism Top End. Before we get into the presentation, I just want to mention a few things very quickly. First, as you can tell from the title, this webinar is about getting started with generative AI. It's designed to educate those users looking to understand the fundamentals of this technology and its applications. Given the hype surrounding AI over the last few years, it's safe to say that we've all experimented with it, some possibly deeper than others. If you're a user who's already spent a fair bit of time with AI, then there will be some concepts in this presentation that you're already familiar with. That said, I'm pretty certain that everyone will find useful insights and actionable info in this webinar. Secondly, while the title mentions generative AI, which is a subset of the overall science of artificial intelligence, there will be a fair bit of overlap with other general forms of AI, especially the ones we've been exposed to over the last few years.
Oh, do I have a photo for that?
Again, if anyone's mic is on, could you please mute?
It doesn't fit into either of them.
Catherine Christophers, your mic is on. Yep, thank you. And the third bit is that there's a fair bit to cover in this presentation, and with the aim of getting through it as efficiently as possible, I'm going to move quickly. Please don't worry, this webinar is being recorded, and you will receive both a copy of the recording along with the presentation. And with that, let's get started. First up, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll discuss exactly what generative AI is, along with its importance for tourism, travel, and hospitality. We then move into practical applications of AI for your business, looking specifically into its usefulness in content creation, enhancing the customer experience, and how it can help with marketing and sales. The third module looks at how you can get started using it in your business, especially if you're just beginning. Our fourth section looks at a few real-world examples of AI in the travel, tourism, and hospitality businesses, along with one really hilarious use of AI. Finally, we'll answer a few questions that we've already received from people who've registered, and then, time permitting, open up the discussion to questions from you. What is generative AI? And how is it different from what we've seen before? So firstly, keep in mind that AI has been around for many years. We've already seen it and used it in things like movie recommendations on Netflix, shopping suggestions on Amazon, curated news feeds on our social media, playlists on Spotify, and personal assistants like Siri on our phones. Many of those are examples of predictive AI. That is, they analyze patterns of how you use the products, how you behave, and they predict what other products you might be interested in. Generative AI is a bit different from that. Generative AI is when we tell the tool, whether it's ChatGPT or Meta's Llama or Google Gemini, what we want to know or what we want it to do through what are called prompts, and then it generates new content for us. So it's generating new content for us. That really is the crux of what generative AI is about. It's taking large amounts of data, it's processing it, it's using the prompts that you give it, and it's creating new content for you. It could be to answer a few questions, it could be to generate new ideas, videos, images, data summaries, etc. Here's a quick video to help you understand generative AI in 2 minutes.
What exactly is generative AI? When new content is created by artificial intelligence, it's called generative AI. This could involve generating texts and images, as well as videos, music, or voices. To do this, you describe in a chat dialog box what you want the AI to create. This description is called a prompt. The generative AI tools provide answers to all sorts of questions, summarize complex information, and generate diverse ideas quickly. Depending on how they're used, they can create short stories, paintings, pieces of code, or even musical compositions. The foundation for this creation lies in large amounts of data that the AI system accesses to identify patterns and similarities. The content produced by the AI is new. It's often impressive and challenging to distinguish from things humans have made. Generative AI can also be misused. In so-called deep fakes, AI is utilized to produce images or videos that seem real. AI-generated texts are also tough to recognize as machine-made. Moreover, the AI can provide answers that sound correct but are actually incorrect. This is called hallucinating. The quality of what's created depends on both the quality of the data used and the quality of the prompts given.
Go for it.
To effectively utilize generative AI, we need to learn how to guide the tools with meaningful prompts and use them thoughtfully. Generative AI holds immense potential and can help us in many ways, such as serving as a writing or learning partner. However, the AI should do the hard work, and humans should be responsible for the facts.
Again, I just ask anyone whose device has their mic on to please mute it. Moving on. While I'm going to be talking about ChatGPT largely today, using it as an example, just because it's the one I'm most familiar with, as are most of us, there are many, many other products that are similar to it. For example, Google has Gemini. Everyone is on Google, pretty much everyone is on Google. So you have access to that one. There's Claude by Anthropic. There's Copilot, which is Microsoft, which again comes bundled in with your device, Microsoft devices. And then there's Facebook, or rather Meta, that has their own AI assistant called Llama. Well, right now, Llama 3. So everything that I'm saying pretty much applies to all of these, and you can choose which ones you want to use. Just as an aside, there's a website called Chatbot Arena, which lists out all of the generative AI tools, and it sort of does a moving leaderboard day by day, week by week, as to which one is the most advanced, which one is the most which one's training has been the most updated or most recent, all of that. So it's interesting just to see how that moves up and down. ChatGPT pretty much stays at the top of that, but all of the others are catching up pretty quickly. So now the importance of AI in travel and tourism. Number one, and this really applies to businesses in general, but we'll get into specific use cases for travel and tourism and hospitality. Time savings. You only have so many hours in the day, and much of it is taken up by repetitive tasks. Answering emails, creating itineraries, responding to reviews, creating staff rosters. An example of this would be if you were redesigning your website, you could ask a Gen AI tool, ChatGPT, for example, to analyze your current site and suggest improvements based on specific criteria. Something that would take you a few hours or even all day can be done in seconds or minutes. Let me just show you what I mean. I will just share my screen. This one. Here we go. So what I've done is I've put in a prompt that says, can you analyze my website, which I will attach below and suggest ways to improve it in terms of user experience, increasing bookings, and optimizing for Google search results. And I've put in a URL of a website. What ChatGPT has done is it's gone, it's looked at that website, it's analyzed it, and it's spat out all of this information, right? User experience recommendations, navigation, readability, how you can improve your call to action in terms of stuff like book now, learn more. It tells you what you can do on your website, what changes you can make to increase bookings, simplifying the booking process, including more testimonials and reviews, et cetera, et cetera. It will throw out information on what you can do to enhance your search engine optimization to make sure that you show up higher in search rankings when people search for your product or your business. It tells you, it essentially will do the work for you. Now, something like this would take you an hour, maybe a couple of hours, half a day even, with research and all of that. ChatGPT can do this in 30 seconds, right? So it's not necessarily doing it better. You can do this, but what it is doing it much, much faster and freeing up your day. Just to go back to my presentation. Yes. Increased efficiency. AI can also quickly analyze large amounts of data. Large amounts of data that you can use to make informed decisions. Again, sorry, I should go back to that chat. Here's what I did. Let me scroll. Yeah, I put in a sample data, right? And sample data for a sales team. And it was an Excel sheet that you can directly upload into ChatGPT. I believe that's a feature that currently is only available on the paid version. But you can put in all sorts of information. You can put in tables and you can ask it to analyze. So what it was a list of regions, a list of sales reps, how many units they sold, and what the income for each one of those orders was. It was sales and orders data. So what I did was I asked it to analyze the data and answer these questions. Act as a data analyst and output the information in the form of tables that I can copy and paste into a spreadsheet. Rank sale reps in order of number of units sold. Rank sale reps in order of income earned. Which region generated the most sales in terms of units sold? Which region generated more sales in terms of income? Tell me which day, week, and month had the most sales in terms of income. So actually, I think what might make sense is for me to show you that data to begin with. Here we go. This is just some sample data that I downloaded of a random site. So it's all of this data, right? It's a fair amount of data. It's sales for a couple of months for, I believe, a stationery products company. Here is what it looked through all of that data, and this is what it gave me. So it told me it ranked sales reps by units sold. So in this case, it's Jones, I believe. It ranked sales reps in terms of income earned, which is a different sales reps as it turns out. Regions that sold the most, regions by income, and then here are the specific results for the remaining question. Days with the most sales, December 4th, the income earned, et cetera, et cetera. So it just really helps you summarize all of that data again in 30 seconds. I uploaded the Excel sheet and I spat out the summary. You will notice that in all of these prompts, I'm being very specific about what I'm asking the AI tool to do. I will get into how to engineer prompts, at least give you a basic structure of how to do that, just so that you're able to get the most efficient output from your AI tool. And going back to the presentation. There we go. Enhance customer experiences, right? AI can facilitate a more personalized interaction with customers rather than one-size-fits-all solutions. A popular example here would be chatbots. We all know of them and we all use them. And personalized itinerary builders, lots and lots of travel companies are already using these. And I have an example of how these things are incorporated into travel and tourism businesses in a few slides down. Getting a bit more specific to the travel and tourism and hospitality industries, AI can help with customizing your messaging for different customer segments. So, for example, you can craft marketing communication specifically for the drive market, for the great nomad market, or for luxury travelers, foodies, families, etc. Right? Instead of you taking the time to do all of that for each individual customer segment, AI can do that for you. Generative AI can do that for you in seconds, if not minutes. In minutes, if not seconds. This can also be applied to your emails, all the emails that you send out, to messaging on social media, print, TV, and radio, and all your marketing and sales avenues, really. Chatbots can be automated to answer the most frequently asked questions, and they work 24/7, and they're far more cost effective. And AI can help you find ways to optimize your site to rank higher in Google search. And here's the interesting thing: the higher you rank in Google search, the more likely you are to show up in answers for generative AI. So in essence, what you're doing is you're using Gen AI to help to figure out how to rank higher in search in Google's in search results, which will then help you rank higher or be mentioned when people ask questions about your business or a product that you do in Gen AI. So it's sort of a positive circle that keeps feeding that keeps feeding itself. Moving on to this bit, right, where everyone's a little bit worried. Everyone, not everyone, but there's a fair few people who are a bit worried and a bit nervous about how AI is going to impact us and what changes it's going to make and how we're going to adapt to those. Honestly, I believe that that it's understandable to have these misgivings about AI and its effect on your business. But I believe that AI, like all other technologies before it, will cause an initial amount of friction, but that's only going to be momentary. It's a technology that is growing more and more mainstream, and because of that, it will get easier and simpler to understand and to use. For example, take data analysis. AI will not replace data analysts. It will just help them to do their job faster and better and to analyze more data. As more developers get involved, as more players come into the generative AI game, and as AI becomes more prevalent in our lives, it will naturally get easier and easier to use. That's just how technology works. Every developer wants to make it as easy and as simple as possible for you to use their product over others. So there's just going to be an arms race to get easier, quicker, simpler, and more user-friendly. In industries like hospitality, travel, and tourism, AI will never be able to equal real life interactions with genuine personalities. And I say never, but at least not in the near future. Real genuine personalities are the bread and butter of tourism, hospitality, and service industries. And that's not going to change anytime soon. What it will do is it will help enhance the experience, right? So, for example, think of a tour guide who's just a great personality that everybody loves and is able to relate to, everyone talks about, and everyone enjoys going on tour with. What AI can do is perhaps, just as an example, translate their whatever language they're speaking for people who don't understand that language, right? So you're essentially taking that same tour guide and enhancing the experience for some customers who might not have been able to take full advantage of that experience. All we need to do is understand what we're good at and let AI take care of the drudge work. Let AI handle all the repetitive tasks, and you focus on the stuff that's important. The most basic thing that you can do right now is to just get started. Whether it's playing around with the available tools, the free ones, familiarizing yourself, and then using those tools to start providing solutions to your business problems. Keep in mind that using AI in your business right now gives you an advantage over other businesses that do not. Now we get into practical applications of generative AI and AI in general for your business. I'll just check how we're doing for time. Okay. Let's look at crafting content for social media. To start with, let's get ChatGPT to craft a social media strategy for us. I'm just going to go back to my ChatGPT. Here we go. So I've written a fairly long prompt here, and again, I will get into how I put this together. But let's look at it right now. Create a social media content strategy for the next 6 months. That is the 1st of September to 28th February, which is the off season for tourism in this region. I run a tourism business in Darwin in the NT that facilitates tours to Litchfield National Park. The goal of this strategy is to increase reach and engagement on Facebook and Instagram, and as a result, increase bookings. My target audience are families who live in Darwin and its surrounding areas, with the intention of convincing them to explore areas close to them for fun family activities. I want the content strategy to reference common issues that young families face and position my tours to Kakadu National Park. Sorry, it's Kakadu National Park. As solutions for it's actually Litchfield is the example I use. As solutions for those problems. Examples of these issues would be bored kids stuck at home during the holidays, finding new ways to keep the kids entertained, a need to find activities that the entire family can do together, not having enough time for multi-day trips, but a preference for day trips, or helping the kids to learn about nature. Write this as a genial, mother-like character, someone who can be trusted and who seems like a lot of fun. Let the tone of the communication be fun and friendly and very informal. Please give me a 6-month strategy for Facebook, Instagram, and include ideas for blog posts as well. So that took me about 5 minutes to write. ChatGPT then came up with this. So it gave me a monthly content breakdown. It gave me a theme to start with: new beginnings, fresh air, and outdoor fun. It told me what kind of posts I can do in week 1. So bored kids, it even attached emojis that I can use. So bored kids, let's change that. Share a reel or a carousel post with quick clips of kids enjoying various activities. Week 2, top 5 family friendly day trips. Post a short blog. Week 3, post stories with tips on keeping kids entertained outdoors, linking back to Litchfield tours. Week 4, school holidays made easy. Create a graphic with tips for stress. So these are all just good ideas to start with. Then again, it's given me more content for October, for November, and it's changed that content. It's each month, it's even given me a different theme. So October is about Halloween and seasonal fun. November is about celebrating the joy of local adventure. December is about Christmas fun, school holiday excitement, all of that, right? January, New Year, new adventures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's given me blog post ideas, one for each month. So this is a good starting point, right? Normally, it would have taken me a couple of hours to come up with just the structure. What you can then, you can refine this, you can give it feedback, you can tell it that I want one blog post idea for every day of the week, right? And it'll do that. You can say that I want video ideas for Facebook. You can say that I want more graphics and more listicle ideas for Instagram, and I want them for 7 days of the week for 6 months of the year. It'll do that for you. Again, keep in mind that you need to be using this as a starting point. You can refine this, but then you need to copy and paste it out of ChatGPT and refine it further and work on it. It will even give you per post copy, right? It'll write the copy for you. It'll tell you what picture you should use for every single post. Across 6 months, that's hundreds of posts. It'll do it all for you in minutes, right? So again, this is something that you could do. It would just take you much, much longer. ChatGPT or all the other generative AI tools just make the process quicker, simpler, and it gives you good ideas and starting points for your content. Let me go back to my presentation. Yep. Again, just take note of how that prompt was structured, and I'll go into more detail on that in just a bit. Similarly, AI can help you with creating compelling copy for your website, with writing emails and blog content. You'll find that chatbots can also be very versatile and take care of many useful functions, and AI can help you understand where you are with your customers. So, for example, you could copy and paste a large number of TripAdvisor reviews and ask ChatGPT or Gemini to generate information like, what do people love most about your tours? What are their most common complaints? It can even help you craft responses to multiple reviews. So, for example, you could say, generate responses to all my positive reviews. Make sure that you give me 20 of them. Make sure that all of them are different, slightly different in tone and any other aspects that you want to program it for. It'll spit out 20 reviews, and you're done. Again, this is not about getting ChatGPT to do all your work for you. It's about using it as a starting point and using it to save time. So you would take those reviews, you would look through them, you would refine them, and then you would use them in your review management software. In marketing and sales, when we're talking about personalized recommendations for guests, you could guide customers to specific products on your website based on prompts that they input. For example, at the time of booking a hotel room, you could use generative AI to then make specific recommendations to those customers on tours and activities that they might be interested in, depending on their prompts. You can also analyze competitor data to create unique packages and pricing strategies. And you can also use AI to analyze past guest data, for example, fishing enthusiasts, to target them specifically during the relevant season. Moving on to the third section, practical tips on how you can get started using generative AI in your business. So number one, be clear about what you want to achieve. Define your purpose, whether it's creating content, whether it's optimizing the ads that you're running online, or improving customer service. Understand what you want to achieve with generative AI. Start using the simplest tools first. Get familiar with how AI and generative AI work. Understand what it can do and what it can't. Lots of free tools out there. I encourage everyone to jump in and start using them. I'm sure you will find something that you can use it for, and that it will be useful to you for. If you're looking to create content, use existing content and get the generative AI to edit and reformat that for different platforms. If you have a video, you can use generative AI to edit that video into shorter snippets. You can use it to edit it into more interesting content. Keep experimenting and increase your usage and reliance incrementally. Start small, but keep using it. It's just with all technology, as always, the more you play with it, the more familiar you get with it, the more use you get out of it, and the better you're able to use it. And again, just continue to learn and update your knowledge base when it comes to generative AI. There's just a lot of content out there. Yeah, when I send this presentation when I send this presentation out, I'm going to be including links to some of the really, really interesting content that I actually used for research for this webinar. There's some great creators out there who are talking about how to use AI and generative AI in just innovative and creative ways. Now, I showed you those prompts, and I'm now going to explain how you can use these to structure your prompts to get the most efficient output from your generative AI. Just because you could put in as much information as you want, and there's millions of things that you could tell it to do, but to get the best output, you want to be specific in what you ask the tool to do. I'm just going to go over this slide to begin with. There are 6 things that you need in any good prompt. The first one, task, is mandatory. You have to have that. You have to tell the AI tool what you want it to do. Create or generate a report or write an email for me. Create a content strategy for me. You need to be able to tell it what to do. That is mandatory. You have to have that in your prompt. The next 2 are important. They're not mandatory, but they really help. Context. So what is, for example, your background or your business background? What does success look like for you? And what is the environment or the situation that you're hoping to solve this problem for? Examples. Giving examples tends to get you the best output, right? Just because the AI tool can spend a lot of time and give you many, many, many different ideas, but if you give it specific examples, you narrow down and get to what you need to get a lot quicker. So context and example are important, not mandatory, but they are important. And then the next 3, they're good to have in your prompt. They just add more background. They just add more angles for the AI to work. So one of those is persona. So who do you want the AI to be, right? You could write a prompt saying, act as a tour guide or as an expert in tourism in the NT, or if you're a data analyst, act as a marketing manager in a digital marketing agency, for example, right? So yeah, who is the expert that you want the AI to be? Then the format. You need to be able to tell the AI tool exactly what format you want your output in. Is it as a spreadsheet? Do you want it in points? Do you want it in the form of an email? All of those things. And lastly, tone. This is especially when you're creating content. Do you want the tone to be friendly? Do you want the tone to be serious and academic? You know, all of those kind of things. Like I said, the last 3, they're not something that you have to have in there, but it really does help give more background for the tool to do its job. I'm going to go back to one of those prompts. Here we go. So the content creation, the social media strategy prompt. So the section in yellow would be the task. You're asking it to create a social media content strategy for the next 6 months, and you've given it the time frame. The next shaded bit is the context. Off-season, this period is the off-season for tourism in the region. You run a tourism business. Where you run that tourism business to, Litchfield National Park. What your goal is, what you're hoping to achieve, what your measurement of success would be, who your target audience would be. So there's a lot of context in that section. Then I've given it examples of issues that I wanted to address. Bored kids, finding new ways to entertain the kids, finding activities that the entire family can do together, helping kids learn about nature. Persona is about, write this as a genial mother-like character. someone who can be trusted and who seems like a lot of fun. And the tone here would be fun, friendly, and very informal, right? So when you decide to use generative AI, I encourage you to use this format. Over time, you might figure out a better way to do this. I think this is a good starting point. So yeah, that's how prompts work in AI. Again, they don't need to be this complex. They don't need to be this detailed, but it helps to give it as much detail as possible. The next bit would be about choosing the right tools, right? Yes, I've spoken a lot about ChatGPT just because it is the market leader. It's the tool that everyone knows about, and it is the most generalist tool. It does a lot of things decently, but there are now AI tools out there that do very specific things very well, right? So, for example, I've got a whole list on the screen for you. There's many more. When you're talking about image generation, creating presentations, Canva's always been really good, and now they've got an AI layer. DAL-E is a product that is by the same people who do ChatGPT, OpenAI. Midjourney is another great tool for creating imagery. Keep in mind this technology is still evolving. It's not yet it's not perfect. It's pretty good, but it's not perfect. Then if you're looking at customer service, these are just a couple of examples. Intercom, which I've used, and it's really easy to set up. There's also TARS and ADA. There are all of these for data analysis and insights. Tableau has been around for a long time, and it's now added, or as of late, has added in an AI layer. Monkey Learn, Data Robot, all much better at analyzing data than ChatGPT. But again, if you want to get started, ChatGPT is a good place. HubSpot, Marketo, and ActiveCampaign, again, they've been around for a while. They're customer relationship management and sales funnel systems. They've also added AI in there, which just makes life a lot easier. There are a number of other products for video creation and editing. CapCut is a popular one, and it's free as well. Yep. Runway is popular as well. There's just loads of them. So you can take your pick. Google is your friend when it comes to these, or actually ChatGPT is your friend. Productivity, Notion, Grammarly, these are all tools that work with AI or use AI to make things easier for you to function. Auto AI is great for recording meetings and transcribing those meetings. Grammarly is great for making sure that your grammar is correct and your spellings are correct. Notion AI is a project management sort of tool. And then there's administrative tools, Zapier, which sort of connects all these tools together. Calendly, which helps you schedule appointments. So yeah, there's just loads of them. And in the world of generative AI, you have the generalist tools, ChatGPT and Gemini, for example, and they're designed to cover as many bases as possible, but these are more specific. This would be the second last section, and I'm going to go very quickly about over this, the ethics of AI. Now, this is still a gray area legally, and rules and regulation and legislation is still evolving. So I can't speak to this as an expert, but we can use a relative amount of common sense when it comes to this. When it comes to copyright, OpenAI, just as an example, using ChatGPT as an example, when it comes to copyright, OpenAI's user agreement says that you can use the content generated freely, right? They do not impose any copyright over it. However, if you do release that content, you are responsible for it. just with any other content that you put out, it's important that you maintain or you stick that you stay within the ethical boundaries of truth in advertising, right? You cannot put out false content. And it's possible that the AI could create some false content for you. We know that it doesn't have it doesn't always have all the information, and it might make stuff up. It's up to you to check that. And if you put it out, you're responsible for it. For example, if you got an AI tool, when it comes to copyright, let me give you an example. If you had an AI tool create a logo that is similar to the Coca-Cola logo, and you use that logo, you can be held responsible for it in the same way as if you got a human designer to do it for you, right? That is copyright infringement. Similarly, if an AI tool generates content that is wrong or can be perceived as disinformation, and you release that content, then that's on you. For example, if you ask ChatGPT to write a blog about the best places to swim in the NT, and as an example, it says that it's not safe, that it is completely safe, right? It says that all the watering holes, all of the pools that you can swim in are completely safe. And you put that information out, and it's false, then you are responsible for that information. Similarly, if you put out old and dated information, like for example, Darwin City parking meters being able to accept cash, you are the person responsible. Now, the reason I'm giving you these examples is just because the way generative AI works and these large language models work is that it's trained on these huge amounts of data, but it's trained up to a point, right? Up to a date. And so sometimes it doesn't have current information. It's not good with current information. In fact, just a few last month when I started working on this webinar, I asked ChatGPT to tell me about Reagan, the breakdancer, and what happened at the Olympics. All it told me was Reagan is a great breakdancer, and she will be competing at the Olympics, and has done a great and predicted that she would do a great job. Similarly, I asked her to tell me last month which candidate is ahead in the US presidential election at the time. And it said Joe Biden. Joe Biden had had stepped back and stepped down by then, but it hadn't been updated to have that information. So all that to say that current information is not something that generative AI can be relied on for. Always just keep in mind that you need to be ethical, and you are responsible for the content that you put out. Real world examples. I'm going to show you a series of videos, very quick videos that show you how travel, tourism, and hospitality companies and brands are using generative AI or AI in general in innovative and creative ways. So this is the first one. Concierge by Ava is a chatbot that personalizes hotel bookings, asking you questions about your preferences and making human-like recommendations. So I'm not sure that you were able to tell what it was doing, but essentially it was having a conversation with the customer. It was asking the customer questions. It was making recommendations. It was even leaving little notes against each hotel to say, this is what this hotel is good for. This is the pros. These are the cons. It asked the customer, would you like your hotel to be close to this location? Would you prefer hotels with all the regular filters that you normally input into a booking.com, except in a more conversational and personalized way. The next one is so IHG Hotels and Josh AI have created the hotel room of the future with a multimedia bot. So multimedia being voice, touchscreen, and remote that can understand complex instructions. So it's a lot like Alexa, but it processes more complex instructions. So like multiple instructions in one. So for example, you would say, turn down the lights, play some jazz, and order me a burger. It would be able to do all of that for you. It's fully integrated into the hotel's service and product offerings. So it allows for that enhanced user experience. This is a very short 30-second video. I will link you to the 6-minute long video where the Josh AI CEO talks about and demonstrate exactly how it works. The next one is what's called the GP Tour app. And I believe it was created by an individual. So it's not like a big brand or a big tech company that's created this. It's a mobile app that enables you to select multiple landmark attractions across the world and then creates customized audio guides that you can play on your phone when you visit them. So the reason I showed you these videos is just to give you an idea of the opportunities and the possibilities that are available to you and your business with generative AI and AI in general. The last video, honestly, this is a service that isn't technically generative AI or AI at all. It is, however, an example of how popular the technology is. It's so popular that Virgin Voyages, one of the biggest cruise companies in the world, decided to use the hype to promote another customization product.
Hi, it's me, Jennifer Lopez, Chief Celebration Officer of Virgin Voyages, here to invite you to celebrate. So come,
Celebrate your anniversary, your birthday, or just generally being fabulous.
Really, Kyle?
It's good, right?
Gen AI is supposed to be inviting people to Virgin Voyages, not doing whatever that was. Just give me that. As I was saying,
Why not celebrate on
an
an
award-winning voyage
with Michelin-starred chef-curated menus?
world-class destinations, award-winning.
Boring. I'll hop in there. I'll hop right in that suit.
So supple.
I can't watch this. Give it to me. There's no kids here. That's all you need to know.
No kids.
Oh, can I live there?
Gen AI. Invite your crew to voyage. Create your custom invite at virginvoyages.com.
It's not just a yacht, it's a super yacht.
So yeah, it isn't actually AI, but it's just jumping on the AI hype, and it's a great concept, and it's very similar to what Tourism NT did with the Abby Chatfield chatbot that was actually generative AI or AI. But yeah, there's just so many fun things that you can do in the space. Yeah, and with that, we're done with the presentation. I'm just gonna go answer a few questions. To begin with, I'd like to highlight a couple of questions that were sent to us by members who registered. And then if there are any questions from those of you currently in the meeting, we can take those. I'll just check for time. We have about 10 minutes. So I'm just quickly going to go over a couple of questions. Someone asked, who holds the copyright for images, music, or sound created using generative AI? So I think we've gone over that, but specifically, it's a gray area. When you're talking about text, it's really hard to determine who created that content. Even if you used ChatGPT to create that content, you could easily claim that you did it yourself. However, with images, with music or sound, it is definitely a bit more of a sticky wicket. You've just got to use common sense here. Keep in mind though that OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is currently being sued by the New York Times and a bunch of other newspapers across America, just because of the fact that it used all of their content to train its model. And I believe Scarlett Johansson, the actor, is suing OpenAI as well, because they used her voice in a chatbot that they generated, right? So if you're creating music or sound, you could potentially say that you created it, but it's all right now a very sticky area or a gray area, and I would currently stick to using it for to edit existing content or to create new text content. This was a useful question. Is it worth paying for an upgraded version of ChatGPT? Just to give you context, I used the free version till a couple of days ago, when I started using it so much that it locks you out after a number of queries or a certain amount of time, and you're not able to access the most updated features of the tool. So it really kind of depends on you and what your usage is. There are certain features, more updated features, more access to more data and training that a paid version comes with. So yeah, again, it's really up to you. It's just about what your use case is and whether, if you're a heavy user, if you're a power user, you might want to pay for it. If you're starting out, the free version is pretty good. Is AI ethical? Is it taking away jobs from copywriters and artists? I will say that it's a new technology, and with like all other technologies, all of these questions will be asked and all of these questions will be resolved in time. So yeah, there's just no correct answer for this. There will be friction. But people will adapt. Just to give you an example, when the internet started way back 30 years ago, everyone thought travel agents would go out of business, but they're still around. They just adapted. So that's what everyone will do. And as far as content that's created by a generative AI, yes, it will look standard. It will look generic. It's up to you to use it as a starting point, refine it, add your own personality to it to make it interesting. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Are there any questions?
Nothing online at the moment. Oh, it's not coming up online.
Someone's asked, are most of the tools you mentioned available on the free version of ChatGPT? Specifically website analysis, SEO, and social media strategy. Yes, yes, it is available. It's sometimes just about the date range of or how recent the data that the tool is using. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is available for free. I don't believe you're able to upload Excel files in the free version. So data analysis might be a bit sketchy, but everything else you should be able to do pretty well.
On you have the integration with Delhi, all the image creator as well with the plus. You have all the integration.
Yeah. You're able to with a paid version, you're able to integrate a lot better with other AI tools.
And the memory as well. Got more memory about the past and the previous. It's very important because you don't have to repeat all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Another important thing to that I should mention is that generative AI doesn't remember, right? So it looks at your conversation, and as you ask it questions, it responds, but it has a limit as to how much it can remember. If it passes that limit, it will delete certain amounts of information and just use what it has remaining to process. So yeah, so just a paid version will give you more access to more memory. Let me see. So yeah, so that's pretty much our webinar for today. If anyone has any other questions, they can email me. I hope that I've provided context around all the hype surrounding AI and offered some actionable insights that you can use in your business going forward. I see another question. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting my mouse to work, which is a very weird thing to say in a digital AI webinar. Yeah. Just backing what you said about the models being built by stealing the artwork of unpaid creatives worldwide. An ethical and moral consideration to keep in mind. There's also part of the community who won't engage with your business if they find out you're using generative AI. So social risk factor to consider. Yep, there's all sorts. There is a debate as to how useful, or rather, how data has been used to create these models. Just to give you a bit of context, a tool like ChatGPT would have been trained on millions and millions and millions of pages of websites, and art and news and everything, right? So yeah, do they have the right to use that? It's hard to say. It's still a debate. Excellent. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. I'll just leave this screen here. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me at the email address sfernandez@tourismtopend.com.au. I will also be sending this presentation and the video recording of the meeting to everyone who registered. So if you have any follow-up queries, just hit reply on the email. Thank you everyone for your time and have a great rest of your day.